back to New York City, the site, the studio, the home of AFA Today, as we are looking at your midday check of what's going on, and for all things related to news, related to the faith, family, and values issues of the days that we live in. Check out onenewsnow.com. There's a live shot if you're watching at afa.net on the television channel, or perhaps joining us from Florida today and other cable outlets that carry the television version of this broadcast. That's the Queensboro Bridge, and a beautiful 70-something degree day in New York City today, and we are honored to have you with us. Thank you for setting aside time to dedicate yourself to something very clear, taking confusion and obliterating it, getting rid of it, getting it out of our lives altogether, replacing it with crystal clear thinking, and then choosing to dedicate yourself to living a life of godly, clear thinking beyond that. That's what I feel like. I've said this a lot of times. I feel like God has put that personal call on my life. Sometimes it doesn't always, come out exactly right. Someone wrote Jim Stanley, our program director, 2 days ago, and said, I've listened to AFA Today and Kevin McCullough for a long time, and he's just mean. Well, I don't intend to be mean. I am very passionate. I will grant you that. I am very passionate about truth. I want truth to win. I want God's perspective on things to come through. And so do forgive me for being so revved up most of the time. But I love people, and I want to serve people, and I want to serve you each day by being here and helping to facilitate this conversation in the best way we can. And I just appreciate those of you that continue to pour out love and bestow a huge response on how much you appreciate what we're doing. That just means the world to me. 888-589-8840. What we're talking about today is a school board in Brevard County, Florida, the Orlando area, that is grappling with this idea that these textbooks, which are supplied to 51% of the ninth grade world history students in their state, that is studying world history, is looking at a very, very, shall we say, optimistic and rosy filtered view of what Islam is, while making Christianity and Judaism, well, first of all, they barely appear in the book. There are assignments in the book to read from the Quran. There are none to read from the Bible of Judaism or Christianity, and so there's this concern that parents have made, and their solution to it has been to say, well, we're going to create a supplement for this book, which could be, who knows? They haven't put any definitions on that, and I'm supposing that a lot of the parents that were at the school board meeting last night didn't come away very comforted by that. What are the specifics? We know what the specifics of the textbook are. We know what it's going to say. We know what they're going to be expected to recite for tests that come from this textbook. What's the supplement going to say? And the encouragement was, let's make lemonade from lemons. Man, it's just so out of touch. If you are in Florida and you'd like to speak out on this, the Brevard Public School offices are located at 321-633-1000. 321-633-1000. If you get a hold of them and you speak to someone, first of all, be kind. It's always important that when you raise your voice to speak out on something, that you do it with kindness and winsomeness. And then call me back at 888-589-8840 because I want to know what they said. 321-633-1000, 321-633-1000 if you want to give your opinion to the school board. All right, let's go back to the phones because a lot of you want to weigh in. Cynthia is calling from Texas, and Cynthia, we appreciate your patience. You're on with Kevin McCullough on AFR Talk. Hi.
Hi. Thank God we're in Texas, but that brings it back to Rick Perry and them to want to come out of Austin about all these textbooks. That's why I had a problem voting for him. But also, the lemonade and all that, make lemons out. It's because they know they're not going to do anything from Benghazi all the way down to this, because in their mind we forget stuff in 15 minutes. So they don't care. An agenda, Anderson. Hey man, that's the problem. They want to go after our young kids so they can redo their mind thinking. Let's just wish that Rick Perry and the rest of these Ted Cruzes will really take a wrecking ball to Washington. Thank you.
You're welcome, Cynthia. Man, she got a lot in a short amount of time. I think she was on for less than a minute. She got all that stuff. Yeah, no, we need people of character. She's absolutely right. But you know what that might require, friend? That might require you stepping up and running for school board. That might mean you've got to stick your neck out there and get rhetorically shot at. And I know that's not fun, but are you willing to do it? Or is it time to say, yeah, we need to step up? 888-589-8840. David is calling from Michigan. Hello, David. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough on AFA Today.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure
I just
thing.
wanted to say that there's really no coincidences in all this. The public schools have been pushing drugs on our kids, legal and illegal, sex. They're having all the girls, they take their clothes off for all these sports for men to go watch. Every Jesus-hating doctrine comes out of these public schools, and now Islam is brought in. Well, the state has licensed sin and evil, and Sharia now waits in a dark hallway outside the room. And this is what's happening nationally in the macro and micro in the public schools. These children, they're going to experience social chaos. And what religion will they be forced into when society completely crumbles, which we're on the cusp of? And this is not any of my idea. This is, Frederick Hayek, read Road to Serfdom.
Yeah.
He explains it all. And except this time it won't be the religion of Nazism or communism. It'll be Sharia. And that will fix the problem.
Well, in a very perfunctory way, it will appear to, at least in the society. But at the end of the day, David, as you know, it doesn't get us any closer to truth.
That's right.
Doesn't get us any closer to liberty. Doesn't get us any closer to understanding what God's purpose is and the freedoms He's given us.
Kevin, God, I study the Bible often, and I'm publishing a book very soon. I'm an amateur, but from what I understand, what I've written, God is a very benevolent ruler over His universe. He does not live above His own laws. So what I believe is happening, His people have rejected His precepts and principalities and law, and He's only wants to teach us how benevolent He truly is. So He's going to allow His people to live under a dictator named Allah. And it will only be then that His people, or anyways the people who call Him by name, will see that God's law was truly a blessing to them.
Interesting, David. Thank you for the call. Interesting perspective and insight. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Yeah, that is one of the things that I want to remind you of, because I started on Monday with this whole thing about spiritual liberties, religious liberties, and what they're going to be sacrificed to. If you have a sanitized version of Islam being taught to ninth graders, if you don't have the girls in the classroom asking the questions, why do we have to wear burqas? Simply because we're female. Why is that? Why do I have to cover up head to toe? Only allowed to let my eyes be seen. How is that an admirable religion? Chopping the head off of the people that oppose us, killing the infidel when they disagree. This is an admirable religion. That the infidels must die. Does Judaism treat the infidels that way? Does Christianity? See, I don't know that those two in this life do treat the people that are blasphemous or they go against the tenets of those religions teach. Yeah, you could say Christianity is pretty hardcore, that if you don't accept Jesus, you spend eternity separated from Him, and I agree with that. But Christianity spends much of its focus in this life on the idea that God is loving and pursuing the sinful, lost person. And when we draw no line of distinction between that message and the message of, obey Allah at all cost, when there is no redemption, when there is no forgiveness of sin, when there's only judgment and hate and punishment and cruelty. Friends, there's a world of difference. And if they wanted to do something helpful in the world history book, tell the real story. I'm not against studying them. Let them be studied. Let them be studied side by side, and let the bad actors in all of the areas be exposed. I don't have a problem with that. You know why? Because at the end of the day, Jesus Christ still rose again. Muhammad is still dead. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Messiah came. Yeshua fulfilled that Old Testament longing. It's been done. But we can't expect that from textbooks now, can we? 888-589-8840. I mean, it's not their job to tell the gospel. Ari in North Carolina, you're up next. Ari, welcome. You're on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Hi.
Yeah, hi, Kevin. I think we're dealing with a myth here, and it's the myth of neutrality. There's a liberal myth that neutrality is possible. It's not possible, because we are in a war, a spiritual war, a cultural war, intellectual war, and it is for the final disposition of this planet. So, we're suffering, I think we're suffering death from 1,000 paper cuts. These textbooks that are selling the lie, they're produced somewhere, and the hard work would be to find out who wrote the book and go directly to those.
Prentice Hall is the publisher, so they would be the ones that would know the authors.
We need to go visit the authors and talk to the authors and find out where in the world they came up with their ideas, and then change their ideas. An alternative would be to buy the rights to an older, say, 1950s history textbook, and then let some good, well-rounded writers revise that edition, and then put that forth in the marketplace. It's one thing to complain about a textbook; it's another thing to give an alternative.
Yep. No, I agree with you, and that's one of the reasons why I would love to see David Barton's stuff in all of the public schools in all of the country. In fact, I was just at this the Family Leadership Conference over the weekend and had the coolest thing happen. There is a study Bible group that funded for themselves a study Bible from the New American Standard, which is my favorite translation. It's an older, modern translation. It's considered a modern translation, but it's old now. I mean, people don't think of it. They think of the NIV and the new NIV, which I don't care for as much, and a lot of the other ones. But this is the NASB, and what they did is they went through with David Barton's historical notes from the Founding Fathers, and they connected every Founding Father early note, writing, paper, doctrine, white paper, et cetera, to the verses that the Founding Fathers derived it from. And it's called the Founder's Bible, and just a brilliant concept for learning American history. I was very fortunate. They gave me one at the event. I was blown away because I think they're about $80. But it was just it's just a thrilling concept that you marry the actual historical fact of America's history with the Bible verses that the Founding Fathers relied upon when they came up with those ideas. Very, very cool. But, we can't have that kind of history talk because, it's dependent upon Scripture. And that brings God into the equation, and we don't want to be doing any of that. Let's go to Corrine, who's in Arkansas. Corrine, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough on AFA Today. Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi, Kevin. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for your call.
I'd like to, first of all, I'm a resident of Florida since 1969. And I would like to respond to the fella talking about teaching our children that the Islamic doctrine is, good, peaceful. My response to that would be that we need to put a book out to show the Islamic people that moved here that Christians are a good, loving people, and Americans are a good, loving, giving, forgiving people. And real quick, I would like to say that when America as a country turns their back on God, he's going to turn his back on us. And for me to take my tax money and pay for abortions and homosexual marriages and things of that nature, we're doing this as a country. And I'm sure Jesus, God's not very happy about it.
I'm sure it breaks his heart, especially the taking of the unborn child's life. I mean, I don't see how that could bring him any joy. Quentin in Ohio, final thought today. You're going to have just a few seconds here, but you get the last word. Quentin, go right ahead.
Kevin, you are so right on it now. This is the Pearl Harbor event. I got it in my spirit that this is going to be a tsunami that launches from Brevard and Orlando and goes across the country. And just get ready to lead some rallies down there. It's going to be in every Christian movement, everybody off the pews, into the street until this is over. And it's an every Christian event.
All hands on deck. I hear you, Quentin, and I thank you for your call. And yeah, if someone calls and says, Kevin, will you come hold a rally here? We'll do that. We'll make it work. I'll step up to the plate when challenged, and I'll do it with love and kindness. But we'll stand strong for truth, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? It's the American Family Association. Every day we check it out every day, the news that's going on AFR Talk. And Calvin McCullough back tonight with the Calvin McCullough Show with more on the issues of free speech, particularly religious rights tonight. I hope that you check that out. And coming up next, it's the Silver Fox, Brian Fisher, on Focal Point, only on AFR Talk.